A Senate inquiry is examining the impact of the pandemic on the aviation sector. Australia's airports are begging for life support to be extended after a catastrophic hit from COVID-19, but the government wants them to stand on their own. Australian Airports Association Chief Executive James Goodwin has fronted the inquiry today and joins me now live. James, what was your key message today?
Well, this is a critical time for Australia's aviation sector, and that's what we were telling the Senate inquiry today, that really we were hoping that we would be looking to signs of recovery in 2021, but that hasn't occurred. The recent flare-ups before Christmas has shown that the vulnerability of Australia's borders and the vulnerability of the aviation network is still there. And this comes at a time when the aviation support packages are coming to an end. JobKeeper will come to an end in March. We will see the aviation support packages for domestic network and also the regional network come to an end in March. So we're certainly calling for the government to extend those programs at a minimum. But it also needs to be looking longer term. What can we do to get the temporary support now, but look to the longer term so that we can fully recover? Where's the discussion about the borders reopening, those travel bubbles with New Zealand or some other countries? It's only then that the industry will be able to stand on its own 2 feet. But we need this immediate support for really what are government mandated requirements.
You mentioned it's now the start of 2021. Where did you hope that we would be by now in terms of the sector's recovery?
When you go back to November, we were still down about 77% compared to the year before. And we were hoping that Christmas, everyone would be taking their holidays and all those border restrictions were going to be lifted in time for Christmas. And we were hoping to really be at about 50%, but we're still down 64%. And January is likely to be even worse with the new border closures that we saw this month. So we're not even able to look to recovery, and we're calling for the government to extend those existing programs to provide that temporary and immediate support for the sector. We know that Australia relies on air travel. We're a large country and rely on aviation more than most other countries. And aviation is the enabler and the facilitator of so many other community good and social impacts, such as getting to and from medical appointments or education if you're in a country area, but also the broader economy. So everything that flows from it, travel, tourism, hospitality, accommodation sectors, but also essential freight, getting that in and out of the country. So the aviation sector has been doing the right thing during this pandemic, but largely it's been doing it out of its own pocket and getting greater and greater into debt, and that is not sustainable in the long term.
The government has been very open, saying that it simply can't save everybody, and it's also previously said, James, that it's already injected a lot of support into the aviation network. What do you say to that?
Well, we say that most of the support that the government talks about have largely been directed to the airlines, and that's important because we want aircraft flying as well. But very few taxpayer dollars have been flowing to the airports. And the fixed costs of operating an airport are largely the same, whether there's one aircraft landing or 100, because those keeping the airfield open, keeping the lights on the runway, making sure that the terminal's open, the security screening that goes with it, those fixed costs stay the same, and they're the costs that the airports are really absorbing at the moment and will continue to absorb, and that's going to reach a point where it becomes unsustainable. And we're also concerned that we'll lose essential and skilled workers from the workforce if the passenger numbers stay at the level that they are at the moment. So we really need to maintain the essential capability so that when the country can get back on its feet and we can look to a proper recovery, that we've got the workforce to be able to do that. So what we have is we don't have an operating environment, a regulatory or a legislative environment that enables airports or the aviation sector to get back on its feet. We're still seeing borders being closed at very short notice, and we also have no sign or no indication of when perhaps international travel might restart. So whilst the government can't answer those questions, it really needs to be able to provide the immediate relief that we need, because we want to get back on our feet and we want to assist government with that. But all these costs at the moment are really to assist government, and all those costs are government mandated charges and requirements. Repatriating Australians, we're doing our bit to get people through, but the costs of security screening is really going unmet. We've got all of those other additional costs with the cleaning, the storage of the aircraft. And normally people wouldn't understand those costs because the passenger numbers means that we can maintain those. But at the moment, with passenger numbers so low, that means that we're just drawing on reserves and are falling further into debt.
Yeah, long road ahead. James Goodwin, thank you.
Thank you.